Righto, Scooby, what do you think? Are we doing a good job today? You're the foreman here, you're the quality control expert. What do you think? Are you tired? Oh no, the tail's wagging. Excellent, that means we're doing a good job. We are getting some tyres put on the rims today. Starfire MPs, all the way from the US of A. And there's 5 of them because we got greedy and we figured we want 5 rims. Okay, so I thought we might just have a look at how this rear axle bearing cap and all the bits and pieces go together. So I've just laid them out on the floor. I've got the manual here and it shows you an exploded diagram of the rear axle assembly, and you can actually see here what we're going to be doing is putting these in a spacer, the bearing, and all these other little bits and pieces together. So it was one of those things that just, you know, good to have it as video documentation, so you can go back to it later on if you ever need to do it again, and it's there for you to look at. So the first thing we need to do, obviously we've got a nice clean surface here. We've got no burrs on the shaft because that will give us issues putting the bearing on, because it is quite a tight fit. So I've made sure just with some emery paper that that is really nice and clean and, you know, smooth for the touch. So first thing that goes on is this little spacer, inner spacer, and it actually, if you have a look at it, it's got a chamfered internal edge on it, and that's important that it goes in the right orientation, which is that away. Okay, so that you don't want to go putting it the wrong way, because if you have a look in here on the shaft, there's a bit of a curved radius just in there. So that has to marry up with that curved radius on that. Okay, so that goes on first, and that actually slides on quite easily, and it sits in there like that. Okay, just push that into position. You can see there, done. Next is going to be the bearing, and we want to make sure the bearing is super clean. Again, I'm going to try and do this one-handed, so I might just get this out and get it ready. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. Be very, very careful with bearings. You don't want to get any grit in them at all, otherwise they will prematurely wear out on you. So you can see they come already wrapped, and these ones are not, they don't have an actual seal on them. They're just a straight bearing, you know, either side. So orientation wise, doesn't really matter how that goes on. We're going to put a little bit of grease on here, just to help with it sliding on. So just hang on a second with that one. So you can see here is the bearing that I've just placed onto the spline. Now I've got to the point where it's stopped, and I'm trying to rock it back and forth to get it on, and it won't go. You don't want to go and bash these things with a hammer because they are, you know, quite a precision piece of kit. So don't whack them. Then, you know, if they don't go on, there's an issue. There'll be something binding. So carefully pull them back off and just check that you don't have any burrs or anything on the actual spline, which I'm going to do right now. There obviously is something stopping it from going on, and you don't want to force it, because if you wreck those again, you're going to be replacing real quick. So we'll just pull that off and just have a bit of a look and see what's going on. Okay, so we've taken the bearing off and we're just having a bit of a look at the surface of the spline, and you can actually see right there there is a little bit of an issue just right there, and that's enough to stop that going on. So you can see where the machine marks end, and there's a little bit of a lip, but that one's got a tiny bit of like a step in it. So that is probably what's happening, where it's getting stuck. So again, I'll just put a little bit more emery paper around that area and just see if that helps out. Righto guys, so here's the bearing in its location inside this back part, and if it gets a little bit tight towards the end, because it's got to go inside this face here, and you do need to tap it, the way to do it is not to tap on this surface here, do it on the internal collar, because if you're tapping on that, you're not putting any strain on any of the rollers or any of the, the ball bearings and that mechanism that's inside it. So easiest way to do it, find yourself a pipe in that diameter. I've just used this little this thing here that I found, and I can actually slip that over the top, and you can see that it's exactly the right diameter for it to just be touching on there, and then I can tap the end of it with another little spacer on the end of that, just to tap it home on that last little section. And again, very light taps, we're not talking about belting this thing at all, and that will just get you onto that final pressed in position that you need to go. So the next step now after this is we need to put the washer, which is this little guy here, and that goes on next. And again, that's going to be reasonably, not too tight of a fit, but sometimes it gets a bit grabby. So that's the washer in position. Then we've got a little O-ring, and I'm going to put some rubber grease on that. That's the O-ring there. Just stick a little bit of rubber grease on that. That'll help it. The rubber that, I don't know, manufacturers seem to be using at the moment are rubbish. They're just, I'm finding really bad stuff left, right and centre that is no good. So we'll stick a little bit of rubber grease on that one and pop it in. So what I'm using is this Protec or Protex rubber grease. You can buy it pretty much from any automotive store, and just put a little bit of a smearing on that, and that'll help it along the way. And now the next thing we've got to do is we've got to put this outer spacer, and the outer spacer looks like that. Again, it has that little chamfered internal edge on it, and the other side is dead flat. So the chamfered edge goes towards the rubber O-ring. So that pops in like so. That's next. After that, we have got an oil seal, the oil deflector, the seal ring, and the cap, which are in these order here. So you've got these three guys and the gaskets, obviously, to put in. So we'll go and do that. This is all going to be a one-shot affair with all of it. And then we've also got the actual caliper bracket, which has to go on before the outer housing cover goes on. So next thing is these guys here. Okay, so what happens now, we put this oil deflector washer, that pops inside, the O-ring goes on the outer lip, just in there, and again I've put a little bit of rubber grease on that as well. Next is the seal, and the orientation of the seal is we want the hollow side, and where you can see that little internal spring going around the edge of it, facing up. So that's going to get pressed inside like that. Again, we put some rubber grease in that. And then now, before we go and put that onto the cap, we have to put the bracket for the caliper. So this bracket here is going to live on there like so. And there's two locations for that to get bolted in. We're going with the secondary one, which is just going to help the handbrake cable a little bit better. So it's going to be in the upper section like that. So that sort of just needs to dangle there for now until we're ready to put the rest of it on. There we go, just leave that like that. And then we have the two gaskets. Now, these things, I never have much faith in them from not leaking. I've put them in before and they just leak. So I just put a smear on both sides of some automotive RTV silicone, just same stuff as we used on the gearbox, the red stuff. And that's just that little bit of extra insurance that they're not going to leak, because you just don't want to put all this together and then find they're leaking later. So I'll go and get that stuff and we will get that applied and put on. Okay, so here's the gaskets put in position and with the silicone on top. As you can see inside, I've pushed in that black seal, and then there's the outer O-ring, and then the oil little washer back there that sprays the oil back into the thing. So this is ready to go in. What I need to do now is orientate the whole thing and whack the bolts in and keep that plate in its right spot. So gonna need two hands for this one, unfortunately, so hang on a second here. Okay, so we are done with that part of the install. As you can see there, all bolted in. Next thing is going to be the actual disc on the spline, and then we can actually put on the caliper over there. So we will get that going. We'll torque these guys up to their respective torque settings, which I'll just get out of the book, and then we can install the rest of the brakes. Righto guys, so Chris is just going to give us a spiel about what this horse float is all about here.
Yeah, the old horse float we've turned into a tyre fitting station, so we can do most of the tyre jobs on site. So we do everything from small lawnmower right up to semi-trailer now. So
wow, that's up to semi-trailers.
Yeah, so we can do all that truck stuff as well. So
yeah, right.
And it's my business, and I've got some staff that take a lot of pride in what they do. So we like this sort of specialised stuff where it's a bit custom. We can really take good care of the wheels and make sure it's all sorted out. We cover the Mornington Peninsula, so Frankston to Flinders and Frankston to Portsea.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, but we've done jobs outside of that, so we're always open to doing something else.
Yeah, no, it's a great setup, guys. As you can see, we've got a generator in the truck at the front, and then as you look inside, you can see all the equipment's actually popped in there. You've got your balancer, you've got your I don't actually know the terms of these. I'm sure you can chime in. The tyre changer, wheel balancer, all the little tools. But that's fantastically set up, and I mean that's really all you need to get the job done. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for helping us out here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and yeah, we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah. All right, catch ya. Righto, here's the front discs in position. These ones are locally made up in Queensland by John Sherman, and they just run a single caliper, or single piston caliper, I should say, and the mounting is just on a mounting bracket on the back there, like so. You can see that. And because we're running a mag wheel, we can actually have a larger diameter disc. You can see here, if you're running the stock combi rim, 15-inch rim, this would have to be milled right back to here. So there you go. Righto guys, here we go. We're just about to get this off the jack stands for the first time in, oh geez, it's been, I don't know how many years it's been off the road, but we've got the new wheels on. No motor yet, but that's all right. Paul's got a plan. He's just going to get one of his kids in the back there, and he'll just, you know, have to run really fast. That's his motor.
I was actually going to train the mice.
Train the mice. So we're going to get this off the jacks and roll it outside and just have a bit of a look at it. Obviously it won't be exactly at ride height because it's got less 60 kilos in the back, but reasonably exciting. Okay guys, here we go. So we're outside on the wheels, as you can see. I think we've nailed the height, getting the height at the right spot. It's actually perfect.
Cool. I got one from
So that's pretty happy with that.
Don't you love a shitty looking car?
Yeah, it is. There you go. So we're going to leave that for now. We will catch you in the next one. We'll see you later guys. Bye bye.